are the New York Knicks. I'm back in New York. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts, just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 590. I am Jay. Mark, I want to talk to you about this record-setting team.
Record-setting team? I'm excited. Yeah, so what team are we talking about?
The Knicks, of course.
The Knicks have set records?
48 first-quarter points, the most points in a quarter in franchise history. They are the first team ever in the NBA, so they have the most games played, and they set a record yesterday.
They are the first team. Oh,
a franchise
awesome.
record.
Yeah, franchise record, most points in the first quarter. And I was pretty excited because I knew the Knicks were going to win when they did that because...
How could you lose scoring 48 points in a quarter? I mean, I turned the game off because I figured it was a done deal. They won.
I saw that and I was like, OKC's got a lot of points also. This is just because of faster pace. The game's really close for how many points the Knicks have scored. That was my thought after the first quarter, and that was the best part of the game. That was the peak of the game.
I got to say, it definitely had first quarter of an all-star game vibes. It was just layups and guys jacking up three-pointers and nobody even pretending to try on defense.
Can I also tell you something I thought was interesting?
Mm-hmm.
I actually a Madison Square Garden record.
Mm-hmm.
There are, I don't know if you know this, there are two players in NBA history who have dropped back-to-back triple-doubles on their first two visits to Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
The first one was Wilt Chamberlain.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was good at basketball.
I've heard good things.
Do you know Wilt Chamberlain? Do you know who else now shares this record?
Could it be Kevin Knox?
You thought Kevin Knox dropped triple-doubles in his first two visits to Madison Square Garden?
Oh, no, it was the guy the Knicks should have drafted instead of Kevin Knox. It was Shea, right?
No, it actually was not.
Oh, okay.
Shea is the best player in OKC, and if you were going to say who it would be, it was from this game, Josh Giddey.
He's got two triple-doubles at MSG already?
You didn't remember last year? Last year, Shea didn't play against the Knicks. Everyone was like, the Knicks will just beat OKC because OKC was terrible.
Right.
Josh Giddey looked like goddamn... I don't know if Magic Johnson. He looked like Magic Johnson against the Knicks last year. I remember that, and coming to this game, I was like, I wonder... Giddey's having a pretty good year. I'm like, I wonder if Giddey is going to go off. I probably should have bet my entire house on Giddey having a triple-double because it was so guaranteed.
I should have remembered that because I bet on the game with our sponsor, DraftKings, and I bet under 7.5 assists for Giddey, and he had 8 at halftime.
I don't know how you could have bet against Josh Giddey in assists and going at Madison Square Garden.
His season high was 6. I'm like, there's no way he's going to get more than 8.
Anyway, Josh Giddey and Wilt Chamberlain are in the record books together.
They're similar players.
So since last show, two most recent games, the Knicks beat the Pistons. Should we just pretend that's all that happened and forget the second game?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Okay.
The other game they were breaking records.
Yeah. So they lost the game to the OKC. The final score was 145-135. The game didn't feel that close by the middle of the second quarter onwards. Or somewhere, I forget where the Knicks lost the lead, but late second quarter. I don't, whatever. The Knicks. So what's going on, Jay? Go.
I want to talk about the man who shot 100% from the field in Jericho Sims.
What do you want to say about Jericho Sims?
Well, how does that make you feel about Mitch?
Why?
Because Sims is actually on the court.
Well,
And
that part's good. Sims's defense is pretty goddamn. Not that I think people would overrate how good Mitch's defense is, but he's a lot better defender than Sims. He protects the rim.
But he doesn't play a lot.
I mean, he misses. He's mostly been. Has he been that unhealthy throughout his career? He misses.
I feel like he's played a lot of games, but he plays the games like hurt.
Injured.
I feel like
I mean,
every time I see him on the court, it looks like he's like limping up and down the court and like, I don't know. Or he plays, but then he gets in foul trouble, so he plays like 20 minutes. Like,
I mean, so last year he played 72 games.
But how many minutes per game though?
25 minutes a game.
Yeah, see, that's not great.
No, that wasn't that bad actually. He's not gonna top out more than 30 minutes a game anyway.
I think you want your starting center to play like 30 to 35.
I mean, I'd rather most guys in the team play like 30 or a little bit less.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, like, it's not a Mitch. Also, like, he started last year like he was healthy, but not really healthy for a while. I know what you're saying though. He misses. When you look at his total games played, it hasn't been terrible. Like, the seasons are 66, 61, 31 in the shortened year, 72. He doesn't actually miss that many games, even though he seems injured a lot.
Yeah, but look at his minutes per game in like all those seasons.
They're all in the 20s.
Yeah.
A lot of them also were like he wasn't starting, then he was starting.
But when he starts, then I don't know. Like, I feel like we were criticizing his foul troubles like freshman year, and it's still.
Jay, I don't know what you're doing here. There are 11 guys that played for the Knicks on Sunday, and they all deserve more criticism than the one guy that couldn't make it on the court.
No, I'm just getting started. We got to talk about Quickly, who came out of his 3+ year slump and is now shooting over 50% for almost 50% for one game.
The Knicks offense looked pretty good. You can't really blame the offense; just the defense looked like garbage. So let me ask you, Jay, why? Okay, so the Knicks under Thibs, year one, had best defense in the NBA.
Fourth, yeah.
Okay, they had the best in three point defending the 3-point line. They were number one. I guess they ended up fourth in the league. I thought they were highest. I thought they were number one.
Well, defensive rating. I guess it depends what metric you use. I looked up defensive rating before the show.
Okay.
Trying to be more informative on the New York Knicks podcast.
Great. Last year they started off pretty weak on defense.
Yeah.
But by the end of the year, I think the second half of the year they were one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. Yeah, I think they finished maybe 10th in defensive rating.
11th.
They were the 11th. Okay. But they were kind of garbage for a big part of the year. And then they kind of made a big run. Partly after removing Kemba from the lineup, they became a lot better. Right. What's the story now? Is it about Mitch being out? Why is the defense terrible, Jay?
There's a couple things. So first, even when Mitch was out, you had Noel, who was I think underrated as a defender. I thought he was like arguably better than Mitch at some points of the season. Okay,
so Noel played in the year they had their good year 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Noel barely played last year.
Yeah. No, I'm just,
Taj played. Noel barely played last year.
I'm just talking about the 2 years combined. You had Noel the first year, and you had
I'm saying last year Noel barely played. Okay.
Yeah. You had Noel the first year. You had Taj the second year. Hart I like, but his defense hasn't been very good.
I think so. The thing with Hart is I think he does a lot of he's positioned well on defense a lot. He boxes guys out so other guys can maybe get those rebounds sometimes. Like there was that game where IQ got 16 rebounds, mostly by standing next to Hart while he boxed the other guy out. He's not a rim protector. He doesn't block shots really.
Right. Yeah.
But I think I'm just saying his defense is better than. I don't think he's a poor defender. He's just not as Mitch is a better rim protector. No question.
He is. He's like Hart's better at getting out on shots than Mitch is.
Yes. I think also just he can position himself well, so the guy just takes a poor shot against him, whereas Mitch actually blocks the shot.
Yeah.
Well, or makes guys really change up their shot.
So that was the first thing. The second thing, the first 10 games you had Fournier starting. Bullock was a very good defender.
Yeah, are we going to go back to 2 years ago? I'm saying, why does defense suck now?
Well, because you had Fournier.
Bullock wasn't here last year.
Yeah, I mean, well, they started.
Fournier's not even starting anymore. Why is it even still? I know Fournier played 20 minutes last night, or yesterday for the matinee.
Mm-hmm.
People are complaining about how many minutes Fournier got. Whatever. He played too many minutes yesterday. The defense and Fournier has been. You know how bad he has been since starting. I mean, since going to the bench.
Has he even hit a shot?
His numbers. I retweeted this earlier in the day. It is. He's been terrible.
He's got to be shooting in like the teens, right? Like he was 0 for 5 yesterday. I can't even remember the last time he hit a shot. It's been bad. He was 0 for 5 against Detroit, and then yesterday he was 0 for 5 again. So yeah.
Yeah, he's been terrible. I can't seem to find it, but he was garbage.
So 0% is not good, right?
No, it's not good. I think he's hit a couple. Oh, here it was. Since he was moved to the bench on November 4th, which not that long ago, but not. I guess that was like about 10 days ago. He's 20% from the field, 18% from 3,
and trending down because he's 0 for 10 in his last 2 games.
Oh, well, 0 for 10 though. If you play that over a whole season, that's okay. Never mind. Well, here's the thing. Fournier has been in the league for a while. He's a vet. He has been productive on offense. He's been productive almost every year he's been in the league. Yeah. Do you now just bench him and just say he can't play anymore because like his are you assuming that he's going to keep being terrible from on the bench?
Well, I think the question is like if he gets it together, is it worth playing him over some guys that you want to develop or want to see more of? Like he might get back to where he was last season, but would you rather Fournier do that, or would you rather see more minutes with Cam?
You can't play a lot of minutes yesterday, but I think the issue is like when Grimes and Cam are healthy, they at least play some defense. Maybe you shouldn't play Fournier at that point, right?
I think it's getting to the point where the Knicks are going to have to make some decisions on who to sign long term, and I don't feel like they haven't had a good enough look at these guys. So, yeah, I think they should probably phase out Fournier, play these guys more, and see what they have before they're like, well, I don't know, let's just give them a 4-year contract and see what happens.
Well, it's a long season. These guys are all going to play. I have to say the issue is Fournier is getting paid $20 million a year. Mm-hmm. He's a veteran. Thibs has said, but this guy, I know we keep saying this, but he set the record last year for Knicks 3-point shots. Mm-hmm. He's not hot garbage. I think Thibs is like, if I keep playing him on the bench, he'll get used to it and he'll start contributing.
Yeah.
If I give him more time, he'll end up being a useful bench piece.
Don't Google Fournier's last name without his first name. Just don't. I just did.
Okay.
I just did, and don't.
Without his first name?
Yeah. Don't. Don't Google Fournier with just Fournier. Don't do that.
I'm going to do that.
You really shouldn't. I'm warning you not to do.
Well.
You're
Fournier gangrene isn't the okay.
I told you not to.
Anyway, I mean, it is a real issue in the sense of like a team has to make some choices, and if Fournier is not helping you win now, and he's not helping you develop players, maybe you should bench him or play him more sporadically.
I mean,
not
it's
playing
not
20
like
minutes a game.
It's not like it's uncharted territory. I mean, the Heat phased out Duncan Robinson, who's making slightly more than Fournier is.
No, you know what? It's a coach that doesn't make those hard choices. Or maybe maybe Thibs is like, well, Leon wants me to play him because I want to trade him, so I have to keep him playing. I don't know. I don't know what the issue is. I don't. Maybe it comes down to Leon says to Thibs, you could bench him. We're paying him a lot of money. You have to figure out. You have to still have a role for him.
You think that he's that micromanaging with the guys?
I have no idea. Rose does not talk to the media. We have no idea. And Thibs can't say anything about Rose, so we don't know if there's micromanaging. We don't know what's going on.
So, okay, back to your question about the defense. The Knicks
and you don't think, like, just hang on. You don't think Leon Rose wants to trade Fournier and wants to have some value to trade him?
I think Leon Rose probably wants to trade him, but I don't know. At this point, playing him might be hurting his value.
I have no idea what the story actually is. And I'm just speculating because we have no evidence that that's the case. And maybe also Thibs just thinks that there's not a lot of scoring. We need more shooting. Fournier could be a really good shooter and help out the bench unit. He just needs time to adjust to a very new role for him.
It's possible. I mean, here's the thing, though. Like, the Knicks don't have really any or many three-point shooters. Fournier is one of the only ones.
One of the best on the team.
And but they also hardly have any defenders. It's really the roster construction is quite poor.
Also, can I point this out? So he played 20 minutes yesterday. Mm-hmm. The game before he played about 12 minutes, then 20, then 12, 10, 14, 18. Generally speaking, his minutes are a lot lower than they were last year.
Yeah.
So his minutes are being phased out anyway. So he's not the biggest of issues on the team. Like, his minutes aren't what's preventing us from playing defense.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he's playing less than half the game, and the Knicks are playing bad defense the whole game.
Right. He's not telling guys to not guard anyone at the three-point line. It's not like Fournier. For 48 minutes tonight, you have to guard the three-point line. It's just your job.
The whole three-point line.
Like, it's... So the Knicks... So Thibs' approach on defense, it's basically guard the paint and jump out at three-point shooters,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone on the team, you watch anyone playing defense, they're kind of looking at the guy they're defending on the three-point line, and also they have a foot basically out the door, the foot basically close to the paint. They're always kind of edging towards the paint. They're always so someone drives the paint. Somehow the Knicks only have 5 guys on the court, but 8 guys collapse on every player that drives to the court. They leave everyone open. So maybe if the Knicks had some communication and they said, "Hey guys, it's not very helpful if we all collapse on every play. Stay near your player, the guy you're guarding. It would be helpful." Maybe it's Thibs' fault on the defense. His style is his general style has been that if we don't guard the three-point line or we just kind of jump out on guys miss more than they make, and over the course of a season, guys will miss a lot of three-point shots. There'll be some nights Ricky Rubio goes absolutely insane, but for most nights, you leave those guys open, it won't matter.
Do you think that players in the NBA have gotten too good at three-point shooting? Like, that strategy worked up to a certain point, but now the players are just better at shooting, and that strategy is just outdated now.
No, I think actually if you leave Steph Curry open enough from 3, he'll just start missing. Of course, obviously. Like, there's been the most random dudes are hitting threes against us because we're not guarding them. You have to stay a little closer to your defense. You have to, like, Randall does it all the time. People kill Randall as a defender. He's not a terrible one-on-one defender. You see him guarding a guy one-on-one. He's usually not guarding he's usually not, like, positioned against a fast guard. Mm-hmm. Fast guard will beat him. But when he's positioned against another forward or even a center, he holds his ground. He's a pretty solid one-on-one defender. Team defense, he's terrible. And that's what people kill him for. But RJ's team defense is terrible also. Everyone seems to play terrible team defense on this team.
Which is weird to me because that's what Thibs' thing is. He doesn't seem to have any offensive scheme. He was a defensive guy, but the entire team seems to be completely clueless on like, the other team sets a pick, and the entire Knicks team is like, I don't know what to do. I wasn't expecting this.
I don't know if, like, so the Knicks last year ended up being pretty, like, they for year 1, we said they were number 1 in three-point shooting against. Mm-hmm. Year 2, they ended up being, I think, what number was it? Maybe number 10 or number... They end up, like, having actually finishing the year pretty decent at three-point shooting percentage. Mm-hmm. And there's no other stat that's better to tell if you're doing a good job overall in three-point shooting. Mm-hmm. Like, if you lead the league in 2 years ago, people were like, too many guys are being left open, and they're shooting too many open threes, but guys are missing, so it doesn't really matter. That strategy works if guys are missing. Right. Maybe the league is caught up with his defense, basically. Or maybe that you have, when you do this, maybe you have teams like Detroit who shoot like 4 for 30 against you, and that makes the average look better when you have nights like this.
Maybe Elfrid Payton was secretly the key to this whole defense.
Elfrid Payton probably was a better defender than... I don't know. Was Elfrid Payton a better defender than Jalen Brunson?
Probably.
He had some size.
I don't think he was terrible on defense.
No, I mean he was terrible on offense.
Yeah, he was
You know
like
what
unplayable on offense, but his defense wasn't bad.
by the way, on a total side note, I know this show's full of side notes. I keep hearing people like they're killing Randall, and a lot of it's about his defense. And they're like, Randall's got to go. We need to play Obi. And I'm like, I understand if you're like, I don't like Randall's offense, and you want Obi because you like his offense better. But if you remove Randall and put Obi out there, the defense still sucks. Obi's a terrible defender, also.
Right.
Like Randall's issue, he doesn't try and doesn't always do a great job. Like his effort's not there in defense. Obi's effort's there a lot, but he's still a poor defender.
So Randall's last 5 games, 26 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists on 50, 44, 83 shooting. Yes, he plays terrible defense, but I feel like we had another forward in the past that put up similar numbers and played similarly bad defense and is idolized by Knicks fans. So I understand Randall's playing bad defense, but why is Randall like the pitchforks are coming out for him?
It's weird. People are like killing him lately. You're like, he's gonna have some bad nights. Why didn't you wait until his nights on offense are a little worse when you want to kill him?
Yeah, people were killing him after the Detroit game,
and the game before that. Like, what was the game before that against the Nets?
The Nets game. That was the one.
Nets game. It was he was the only person on the team that could make a basket, and they were like, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, Randall was the worst guy on the floor." I'm like, how about the fact that no one else could put the ball in the hoop?
Yeah, I don't get Randall's got his flaws, but I just don't get the fact that he's being blamed for like everything. Against the Nets, he had 24 points on 7 for 15 shooting, 11 rebounds, 3 assists.
I was talking to someone online about this, and they were like, "Well, I'm like, well, Randall's offense, like, yeah, he missed some threes early on, but he actually shot well from 3 that game." And he's like, "Well, Randall hijacked the offense in the first quarter." What the hell does that even mean? He ended up actually playing pretty efficiently. Yeah, well, I mean, he made it so Barrett couldn't get into the flow. Look, I watched the game. Barrett missed plenty of shots on his own. It wasn't Randall's fault that Barrett couldn't hit a shot.
It's weird. So speaking of Barrett, he got benched almost the whole second half.
Yeah, because he played like garbage.
He did. But now people are saying, but Randall also did, and he didn't get benched.
How happy would everyone be if Barrett could just put up the numbers that Randall's putting up?
Oh, my God. If Barrett put up Randall numbers, people would be going out of their minds.
Before the show, Jay was like, why is our show not more popular? And right now we have a segment about why we're defending Randall. We're the worst Knicks podcast out there.
I mean, I feel like we're honest, though. I feel like a lot of these other podcasts are just saying what people want to hear. And again, I'm not saying Randall is like great or not a problem. I just don't get why he's the complete fixation. RJ has not been very good either.
There was the game a couple games ago where Randall had 8 threes.
Yeah.
And the focus after that, I turned on one Knicks podcast. They were like, Randall was horrible. Like, he hit 8 threes. And the next one, I tried another Knicks podcast. They were like, Randall's horrible. I look on Twitter. All I see is Randall's horrible. I'm like, he was one of our best players that night. I know his defense wasn't stellar, but like people were like, Randall's really inefficient and playing terrible on the offense. Okay, he's playing well on offense. Fine. Randall's defense is terrible. Yeah, but are you happy he fixed the offense part of it?
No.
I don't. He's just not like our biggest. We have a lot of problems.
What is our biggest problem?
Well, Jay, what do you think our biggest problem is?
Turn it right back around on me. I think our biggest problem is Leon Rose.
Okay. I made a list, Jay, of 5 people who are currently very happy with the Knicks' performance as of late.
Okay. Is it Leon Rose?
Okay, number 1. It's fans who consider winning 1 extra game a year to be real progress. The Knicks won 37 games last year. They have a very good shot at winning 38 games this year, and that will be progress. And the fans that like progress, just minimal progress, they'll be very happy with everything.
Progress fans.
Fan number 2. Fans have been saying the Knicks are trying to compete right now, but the draft looks loaded. If you're a fan of the draft, you're liking where this is going for the Knicks.
Are you though? I feel like we're still going to get like a 15th pick.
Have we not talked about the road trip coming up?
We have not talked about the road trip coming up.
I think the Knicks might, the way they're playing, the way this season could fall apart really fast, and the Knicks could be like, "Whoa, we're the 6th seed. We have a shot at the lottery." I mean, 6th seed in the tankathon, not in like things that matter.
So
well, things that.
Do you think? Just to interrupt your list, do you think Thibs gets fired if they have a really bad road trip? Like, say they lose 4 out of 5 in the road trip, or all.
Let me finish my list, and we'll go to that topic.
Okay.
Just sorry, because I have a quote from that. There's an Ian Begley quote on that. We cut to that. Can we cut that in a second?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 3. Again, people who are currently happy. People who are looking to spend more time away from TV. The Knicks have given you a good reason not to watch TV.
Mm-hmm.
4, eternal optimists who don't realize how bad this is about to get. And number 5, James Dolan, as no one seems to be angry at James Dolan. I don't know how it's happened. The Knicks are about to go a dumpster fire, and everyone's calling for Randall's head, Hibbs' head. There's a small number of people talking about Leon Rose, but no one's talking about James Dolan.
I think he's kind of stayed out of it. I think he got so much heat for all the meddling that now we hire somebody and kind of takes a step back, which is a step in the right direction.
So from Ian Begley, if you have another few of those games on this trip, talk about the West Coast trip, where the Knicks just look terrible, I think there's going to be a big change made, whether it's Thibs or something else. Ian Begley is as plugged in as any reporter can be. Mm-hmm. Anyone covering the Knicks, he seems to think big change. I don't know what or something else would be, but what do you think happens if the Knicks just like flop this next? Like here's the road trip. Tomorrow night they play the Jazz. The Jazz look like they were tanking. Have one of the best records in the NBA. Mm-hmm. Then they play the Nuggets. There's just no chance the Knicks are going to do anything against Jokic. Then they're playing the Warriors. The Warriors are not having a good year so far, but they are the defending NBA champions, and they have Steph Curry, who the Knicks will probably leave open. Who's covering Steph Curry, by the way? I guess Grimes and Cam.
Barrett.
Barrett's just so slow.
Everyone's like saying Barrett always covers the best guy in the other team. Is he? Though? I mean,
he's covering that guy in quotes,
right?
4, they have the Suns, and then they have the Thunder again. There's a chance the Knicks really look bad after this road trip. Mm-hmm. I could find 2 wins if I squint. I could also see 0-5, maybe 1-4.
Well, you mentioned those 5, but the 7 after that doesn't get any better.
Well, because they're playing NBA teams. They pretty much can't play the Pistons every night, which is problematic.
It is. But no, this stretch is like particularly bad, though. I mean, they get back from that road trip, and then they play Portland and Memphis. Then they have another Detroit game, which is good. But then they play the Bucks, the Mavs, the Cavs, the Hawks. Like we're already in mid-December before they play Charlotte.
Yeah, I mean, this season's getting old. I mean, it's getting close to over real fast.
I wouldn't go that far, but I mean, it's definitely going to test the...
So, at what point, what has that, like... So you just said 12 games. If the Knicks go, like, 4-8, is Thibs in trouble?
I think it would have to be worse than 4-8.
Okay, they go 0-12. Does Thibs have a job?
If they go 0-12, I think he might be gone. Because okay. I think Rose and Dolan are expecting playoffs. They just put out a lot of money for Mitch, RJ, and Brunson. I'm pretty sure they're thinking playoffs.
Well, if you're Leon Rose, what changes could you make at this point? You've missed your window to trade for, at least for currently. There's no all-star in the, like, you're not going to trade for an all-star mid-season, right?
Right, and everyone's talking about Donovan Mitchell, but Murray was the big miss there.
DeJounte, yeah. But either way, they're both pretty big. I mean, they're both having great years.
Yeah, well, I'm saying DeJounte was 3 picks. One of them was the Charlotte pick that the Knicks
Right.
gave
It
them.
was yes.
And
It was
Gallinari. It wasn't that much.
it was still a decent package. Either way, you
It-
missed on both those guys.
It was
If
like
you're-
half of the Donovan Mitchell package, though.
It really was. But if you're Leon Rose, you're probably also saying like, there's not many moves I can make player wise right now. I have to perform if I want to keep my job. So the only big change I can make is coach.
Yeah, I mean, there is a rumor that Miami is interested in Randall.
Yeah, I saw that. What do you think you get back from Miami? Is it cap filler, or do you get like? I feel like Randall's playing well enough that you should get something for him.
Well, Miami's not trading Butler or Bam. So the only other
that's
two
fine.
big contracts are Lowry, who we'd pay $30 million to like basically sit on the bench because he's not playing over Brunson, or Duncan Robinson.
So you trade for Duncan Robinson, and maybe I don't know what they have in terms of draft picks. They can't have that many draft picks left. Or like that are like in the near future.
You would have to get like Strus or Gabe Vincent. Like you'd have to get one of those two guys.
Who's also both guys that were available in the G League. But
Yeah. But
can
now,
the Knicks ever? Do you know the Knicks right currently? They have 3 picks in the top. Like if everything just ends right now, I think the Knicks. I think I saw the Knicks had like the 15th, 17th, and 20th pick in the draft. They currently are set to have 3 picks in the first round. I think one of them is a protected pick. So it depends on where. One's the Dallas pick. I forget who the second one is. If the Knicks end up with 3 first-round picks, what do you think they do?
I think Leon Rose trades the 15th and the 17th for the 19th and a heavily protected 2026.
The thing is, there's zero chance that Leon Rose would go, oh, it's going to draft 3 guys at those numbers.
I'm telling you, he's going to do what I said. He's going to package 2 of them, get like a top 17 protected 2026 pick.
I'm totally cool if he wants to package to move up in the draft, but anything else I think is just going to be just idiotic. Yeah. It's a loaded draft. So if the Knicks just suck this year and they finish with the 7th worst record, say, and they end up winning the lottery, which of course is not like the first 2 guys in this draft, Wembayamba, who looks like a game changer, but like I bet he'll be injured if he's a Knick. The second guy, Scooter Henderson, looks goddamn awesome.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the Knicks get Scooter Henderson? Let's just, for the rest of the show, just talk about, I don't mean today, I mean the next 6 months. Pretend we're getting Scooter or Wembayamba.
I mean, there's a bunch of guys. Amen Thompson, like Anthony Black is the guy I think I want.
But there's so many guys in this draft. Is it the worst year if the Knicks fall apart?
It's not, but honestly, I think falling apart is going to be like the 8th to 10th pick again. Like I don't
know. You think the Knicks are going to win that many games?
I don't think they're going to fall. Yeah, I think they have too much talent to be really bad, and I think if it's a really disappointing season, I still think they're going to end up with like the pick right after all the really good picks are taken.
You know what I find annoying comment people make is they always talk about how like I hear people say like the Knicks need to consolidate talent. They don't have enough minutes to go around for all the guys that need to play. The Knicks have too many players. Do you understand this statement?
No.
Does any other team in the NBA go, we have too many guys on the roster?
It's a little weird because if they were all that good, then the Knicks would be winning a lot of games.
It's also like on a normal team, 10 guys, like they stand out enough to get like, it's not an issue basically. You're like, oh, so all these guys, if you say 15 guys need minutes, the 10 best guys play, there's no issue.
Right. I mean, look at Golden State last year. They didn't even play Kuminga and Moody. They were too deep.
Right. There's nothing wrong with having a deep team. You want your 11 through 15 guys to be guys that maybe will challenge your 6 through 10 guys for minutes.
Yeah.
Like if we have a young player we draft and IQ suddenly not getting minutes because John Doe is getting minutes, great. We found a guy that's better than IQ.
Right.
Like,
do you think people in Miami are complaining that Strus and Vincent are playing over Duncan Robinson?
Right. Exactly.
Or they're like, no, we can't. We already have Duncan Robinson. How are we going to play Gabe Vincent?
That's how insane it is. That like you find a guy you think he's better. Like it sounds like obvious right now. Gabe Vincent and
Max Strus.
Max Strus would play over Duncan Robinson. But when it first happened, if it was a Knicks world, they'd be like, nope, you have to make sure Duncan Robinson has minutes. Like, just let guys, whoever's better plays. There's no harm. You want more talent on the roster. You want guys to struggle for minutes because there's so much talent on the roster.
Would Duncan Robinson, if he was a Knick, would he be idolized like IQ, or would he be shunned like Fournier?
Fournier. He looks like he's a Fournier type player. He doesn't do that. He's a limited offensive player. Fournier probably has a better handle.
And he just can't play defense.
Can Duncan Robinson play defense?
That's who I'm talking about. Duncan Robinson.
Oh, I thought you meant Fournier can't play. They both can't play defense.
Well,
I don't see how they're that different, actually. You're like, what are the differences? One is from France. I think we're done with the differences.
Well, I'm not saying the difference is the players, the difference in how they're perceived by the team, because there's some players that the fan base goes crazy over, I guess, despite what they can do on the court.
If you're drafted by a Knick, by the Knicks, you have a huge advantage with the fans.
Yeah. And I get it. I would love nothing more than to draft the guy and watch him grow and win a championship, like Giannis. Like that's the dream. You draft the guy, he's a little shaky his first year or two, and then he turns into one of the best players in the league and you win a championship. Like that's the best.
Did you say the dream is to draft a good player? Because I haven't seen that yet as a Knick fan.
I thought we had
not in many years. Not in many years, at least.
I thought we had it with Porzingis. And
I had a couple other questions I wanted to cover. We covered the first three of them already. But what do you think of Jalen's impact on the offense and defense 13 games in? So I think initially we were like, he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Mm-hmm. We've watched him a little longer. He's averaging like 19 points a game. What do you think of Jalen so far? Like, let's just do a check-in on him.
I still think it's a huge upgrade. He's a little shaky on defense, but I don't think he's a complete train wreck. Having a guy that can actually like set up an offense is awesome.
So
really
far, and
I was
gonna say I haven't checked after yesterday's game, but Randall and RJ, both their 2-point percentages are up this year, mm-hmm. and I think a lot of it's just due to the fact they have Brunson on the roster. Yeah, because Brunson makes shots easier for them. I think it's a huge addition on offense.
It is. I'm very happy with him. I think the problem is he's arguably the best player on the team. But for what he is, I think he's been doing his job and doing it well.
He's a very good. Right now, he's at 49% from the field. He shoots which is 56% from two, which is pretty amazing. Like he's such a good inside the arc. He around the basket. He is so good at getting the ball in the basket.
Yeah, for his height too, that's amazing.
Amazing. He's shooting under 30% from three, which is in previous years he's shot like his career average is 36% from three. Mm-hmm. He's shooting a little bit below, but in theory, based on his previous performance, he should get a little better from three.
Yeah.
He's shooting 80. I think he's hit like 25 straight or 23 straight free throws. Mm-hmm. Unless he missed one yesterday. I forget if he missed one yesterday. But he's shooting 87% from free throws. He has 6.8 assists a game, 19 points a game. He's been everything you could ask for on like obviously the defense was not going to be amazing because of his size, but I think his defense isn't as bad as people are making out of it either.
He was 7 for 7 yesterday.
Yeah, I don't think you think his defense is terrible or like
no
better than you expected. I think he hustles a lot. Like
I think he's kind of like Randall, where 1-on-1 he holds his own, but he kind of gets lost behind screens and things like that. So,
going back to the screen, sorry. Why do the Knicks every time they go, like just a couple changes basically? You just stand a foot closer to the guy you're defending on the line. Don't leave him immediately when someone's driving to the basket. Have like don't collapse the paint every time, mm-hmm. and also stop going under screens basically.
Yeah, they got to go over screens. They have to.
There was a play yesterday. I forget who it was. It might have been Dort who dribbled up. And the Knicks just backed off him, and he just shot a three and went right in. And I was like, why are they doing that? Why are they just leaving him? Like they're just challenging him to shoot threes.
Yeah, it's such a weird defensive scheme, and I'm shocked that Thibs, one, has the team playing like that, and two, hasn't made any changes, because we're 13 games in, and there hasn't been like any defensive adjustments. He's made roster tweaks and rotation changes, but the scheme hasn't changed at all.
Right. Last year, people were so mad that Thibs, like the starting lineup, the last 2 years really, was set in stone. This year, he's changing the lineup up. He's trying different rotations. He's trying Randall and Obi together. He's like really experimenting, except for his defensive system.
Yeah, which is clearly not working, and arguably the biggest problem. They give up 145 points in regulation.
The OKC going to the game, do you think they were like the best? Where do you think they were as far as top 30 teams in the NBA? The 30 teams in the NBA for offensive rating.
I'm going to say like 26th.
Yeah, I think they were like 24th maybe
Yeah.
in the NBA going into the game. Maybe 26th. I forget the exact number. But they were like a bottom team in offensive rating.
Yeah.
And the Knicks were like the goddamn... They acted like they were playing the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, last time I saw Poku play, I thought he was going to be a bust, and then yesterday he looked like Wembanyama.
It took me a second to realize that was Poku because he was playing so well.
I know. It was ridiculous.
The guy couldn't hit a shot for the first like 2 months he played in the NBA. And now I was like, oh, they're developing him. He looks pretty good, actually.
The thing is, in today's NBA, almost every single player can hit an open shot. It's not
except in the Knicks.
It's not like the 80s and 90s where, like, your two big men like couldn't shoot at all. Like, everybody can shoot, and you're leaving everybody open. Yeah, you're right, except the Knicks big men who just can't shoot at all. But they're sticking to their 80s and 90s core.
What do you think of Cam? So Cam had he's had two awesome games. The Memphis game and yesterday, he was goddamn awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The other games, he's been kind of mediocre. He's obviously inconsistent. What do you think Cam's future on this team is? Or just future generally? What do you think of Cam?
He's one of those guys that shows flashes, but unfortunately those flashes are like once a week. And I feel like he's going to be an Anthony Randolph type of player where every once in a while, like, oh my God, this guy has so much potential. He's going to be so good. But I need to see it back-to-back games.
I mean, I'm kind of at the point where I kind of feel like I want him and Grimes to be on the floor, him or Grimes to be on the floor at all times. And I feel like he's earned enough, he's played well enough that you want to see if there's some consistency will at some point will some consistency come out of Reddish.
I think it's worth exploring that rather than keep playing Fournier.
Yeah, I just feel like I guess Cam is your small forward and Grimes can play guard or small forward, but they both can play defense. Grimes is the better defender, but like they give you enough that you have to. I don't know. I think Cam has proven at this point that you want to see more from him.
Right.
Whereas Fournier, I don't know. I don't really want to see more from him at all anymore. How many times did the Knicks sign a guy and then a year later we want him off the team?
A lot.
I mean, it's part of when you mentioned roster construction. Leon Rose thought Fournier and Kemba were the answers. And now a year later, Kemba has been off the team for a while. You had to trade a first-round pick to get rid of him somehow. And Fournier has been absolute garbage. I mean, he was good last year, but now he's garbage. You want to do some questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are on Discord now. We're doing the shows live through that. So you could find a link to our Discord on Facebook, facebook.com/NYKnicksPodcast, or Twitter, NYKnicksPodcast. In Discord, Anthony writes, Jalen Brunson has been individually good, but as a team, we haven't looked that much better, at least in the first 13 games so far. What needs to change in order for Brunson's contract to be justified?
I think the offense looks better when he's out there. I guess the Knicks have to win games. They have to actually produce if you're just judging it by wins and losses, the Knicks might be terrible even with Brunson.
I mean, I don't think Brunson needs to change that much. The problem is the defense is so, especially now that Mitch is out, it like Randall and RJ are not playing good defense. And then Hart and Sims haven't been great. Obi's not that good. It's a whole lineup of bad defenders. And I mean, that's on Rose, I think, for constructing a roster like that. But I I think these losses are more on the defensive end than what's going on in offense. I mean,
I'm pretty convinced at this point that if you told me like I can only pick one guy from the starting lineup to be on the team 4 years from now, who would you take?
yeah, Brunson.
Yeah, I mean he looks better than an RJ does. Like I feel like you could say like we have the point guard position solved, or let's say like the Knicks have a chance to get a really good point guard. You'll just have 2 point guards out there. That'd be fine as well.
Yeah.
Like a DeJounte Murray situation, you could have him next to Murray and be next to Brunson and be pretty happy because Brunson can play off the ball also.
Yeah.
So of guys that have to justify their contract, he's the least right now. RJ needs to justify his contract. Mitch has to be on the court to justify his contract. Randall, more questions?
Yes, we have a question in the chat. Nomad writes, at what record do the Knicks have a fire sale? I'm saying 12-18. I think it needs to be a little worse than 12-18.
12-25. When you have double the number of losses you have wins, the fire sale begins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sounds about right to me.
On Facebook, Jake writes, why does Thibs have a short leash for everybody except Randall? It's destroying the team. What is this?
It is weird. Like, I got Brunson he was asked about getting benched, and Brunson said, I would have benched myself too. I was playing bad. A good answer. But it is weird that he benches RJ and Brunson, but not Randall.
Do you think it's that there's a thing about how Randall's been meditating? There are a lot of things he's been doing to like get himself in a better mood, and he seems happier. Like Clyde has pointed out, like he just seems happier in the play this year than last year. Do you think Thibs thinks Randall's psyche is so fragile that he has to be really? It's like he's walking on glass or like he's so worried about breaking his psyche and having it go downhill that he doesn't like he has to treat him differently with kid gloves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's a definite possibility because he looked like he had some mental stuff going on last season, and maybe they're all scared to like have him have a meltdown again.
And if you're the coach and you know you're like he's one of our best players and he's fragile, do you have to handle him differently than everyone else?
Yeah, handle him to a different team.
I mean, also if Randall leaves the team, are we a lot better? Are we any better? Are we worse?
Let's say
you
worse.
trade him to Phoenix, you get nothing, or you get or the Miami Heat, you don't get anything of note back for him.
Right.
Are we better, worse? What's going on?
I think maybe worse in the short run, but better in the long run. Because I think Obi is going to get exposed on defense fairly quickly. I mean, it's still the same problems. Like, you got rid of Randall, you still have a bunch of bad defenders and not a lot of shooting. So I don't think much changes except that you maybe free up cap space for next season. And
I think they're still pretty jammed up cap space anyway because they have now they have RJ's contract.
Yeah, and they're gonna have to make a decision soon with IQ, right?
IQ and Obi are the same draft.
Mm-hmm.
Though you could punt a year down. You could say like we're gonna wait till they're after their 4th year.
Right. I'm saying it's coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up because the contracts are really short in the NBA. Neither one deserves a big contract. If you're giving IQ and Obi big contracts at this point, it's almost like team suicide.
Yeah.
Go cap space suicide. Obi's so positive about Obi. He's been amazing from 3. He's the best 3-point shooter on the team right now, which is shocking. He dunks still pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, he's shooting over 50%, right?
Yeah, I've noticed that also. Have you noticed that Obi's really bad if his shot is challenged? You know how like Randall, like RJ attacks the rim and he attacks too many guys.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone is at the rim, Obi has trouble finishing.
Mm-hmm. Thing is, he's so fast. Like there's 3 or 4 times a game where he's the first guy down and you just throw an outlet pass all the way down.
Though the Knicks also, have you noticed also they get some turnovers from doing that also? because they try to thread the needle because he's always sprinting, and then they feel like there's a couple times a game where they, at least once a game now, they have a turnover because Obi sprints and they try to get the ball to him, and like the other team like is close enough basically, or the ball it's just not a good pass.
Well, yeah, I mean that's on the passers though. That's not on Obi. I mean, Obi should be trying to get an open dunk. I mean,
no, no, you're right. It's just
like if they had a better guards, then that would be a dunky every time.
But so Obi hits threes. He breaks out. He goes in the fast break. What else does he do?
That's about it.
He has no handle.
No.
Very limited handle. He doesn't drive to the basket ever, so he can't really create his own shot. If he's challenged at he has no post-up game. If he's challenged at the rim, he misses his layup usually. I would say I don't have the stats here, but if you look at a defender if you look at Obi in the paint with a defender near him, I'd say more times than not he misses a shot. Or at least it's a low percentage.
You're bringing me down, man.
So I feel like he's going to get pretty exposed. Like, not that I just don't think he's like, if he had a handle, I think maybe like Randall's gone faster. Like if he was like could really justify taking Randall's minutes, Randall's might be gone sooner.
I think he needs to get better at crashing the boards too. He doesn't, for a guy who has ups like he doesn't get a lot of rebounds.
He hustles a lot. His defense at times looks better than I expect, even though he's not a great defender. I don't know. It's Thibs has said, it's the backup quarterback. Everyone loves the backup quarterback till they start.
Yeah.
By the way, the show's going to get crushed because now I've said something positive from the Thibs had said.
We always get crushed.
Also, Rob writes in Facebook, if Thibs were to be fired, who'd be your top choice to replace him? Mine would be Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty good one. Frank writes, do you think they'd hire Kenny mid-season, or would they promote from within for mid-season? Like, do you get another interim coach?
Right. It's hard to tell. I mean, if Atkinson is available, why not? Unless they got a lot of faith in whoever's there, but like their assistant coaches are part of this train wreck.
It's true, but sometimes the assistant's better than the head coach.
It's true.
Frank writes, Evan Fournier played 20 minutes against the Thunder. Why wasn't it DNP? Coach's decision instead. I think DNP would have been more productive.
The crazy thing is, you played 20 minutes in a game where your team scored 135 points and you still scored 0. I mean that's also insane.
The difference, the reason the Knicks lost, if you look at anything also, is Evan Fournier was garbage and RJ was garbage. If RJ's a little better, if Fournier hits a shot or two, the Knicks could have won that game in a shootout.
Yeah. Could have won the game that they scored 48 points in the first quarter.
Yes, exactly. They could have. That would have been a huge win if we could just win. By the way, a lot of people like Johnny Bryant, and they're hoping he'll be the next Knicks coach. Mm-hmm. So maybe you let Johnny Bryant take over. The only thing is, then you go from Thibs to a first-time coach, though the players already know him.
Yeah, but I mean, you say first-time coach, but he's an assistant coach. It's not like
it's
not like Jason Kidd where he was just like, "Here's your coaching job."
That is true. And then Frank writes, Jericho Sims played really well against the Thunder, as did Hart. My question is, when Mitch comes back, how are the minutes going to work themselves out? Do you think one of them is used as trade bait later on in the season?
I don't think we see. I think Sims is still injury insurance.
I think Sims goes right back to the bench. I think you just say there are 3 of these guys. Maybe it'd be great if Sims got minutes, but we're only going to play 2 of them.
Yeah.
That's how it should be at any position. We have 3 of these guys that play small forward. I don't know if we do actually, but we're going to play the top 2. We have 3 guys to play this. We're just going to play the top, we're going to play the 10 best guys, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way most teams are constructed.
Yeah.
I understand. I like Sims too, but there's only so many minutes, and you're going to play your 2 best guys. And right now, he's not better than Mitch or Hart.
Do you know, Jay, that the Knicks actually could have 2 guys in the dunk contest this year between Obi and Sims?
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
That might be the highlight of the Knicks season.
We're almost out of time, but Nobad wants us to rank the roster.
The entire roster.
We could do it quick. Brunson's 1, right?
Okay, I could have done a whole episode on this, but okay. Your power rankings: Brunson is number 1. Who is number 2 right now?
It's probably Randall, right?
But it can't be Jay. He plays terrible defense. And wait, RJ. Fuck. Yeah, you're right. I guess it's.
It's a big drop off after 1.
If you go by plus minus, it might be Hart. I think, and some fans will be like, it's IQ because of his plus minus also his off court rating versus on court rating. But if I actually had to draft a team, if I had to say like I want these guys to play with me tonight, if I said this, whatever, Randall's playing the second best player on the team right now. I agree with you. Who's third?
Third. This is harder than I thought it would be.
I guess it's RJ. He had a bad game yesterday, but he's been playing well overall as of late.
Yeah.
You know, if you only count the games that RJ played well, his stats look pretty good.
Hart's probably 4, right?
Yeah, well, Mitch has been playing well, but he's not on the court right now. So I give Hart. Yeah, I'd say Hart. Then 5 is IQ. By the way, Rose has also not been very good this year.
No, he's been bad.
But they really need Rose to play well.
I feel like they got way more than they expected 2 years ago, and they should have been happy with that. And now they're just trying to run with it, and it's like you're on borrowed money at this point. Like there should be a backup. Like the bench kind of falls apart without Rose now, and when Rose is playing bad, and he's playing bad.
Well, I noticed earlier in the year they gave Thibs limited Rose's minutes. It seemed like Rose deferred to IQ as like IQ would lead the bench unit, and then at some point Rose started getting a few more extra minutes, and he stopped deferring to IQ. It kind of seemed like the Thibs was like, "This is not working. You need to do more."
Yeah, I also think they're just terrified that if he gets more minutes, he's going to get injured again.
That's possible. He's probably going to be under somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes a night in most games. By the way, we didn't talk about how big of a victory they had against the Pistons. That was amazing how they beat a horrible team that was out without its best player.
Great. Now we cover the game. Good.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to keep going with these rankings? I guess like you could put like
Cam.
Cam has been pretty good, so I guess Cam after IQ.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting IQ 5th, even though he's been poor shooting, but like he's doing other things that are well. Or maybe Cam goes before IQ. I don't freaking even know. It's really depressing at this point. The injured Mitch is still better than what other guys are giving us. I don't know. Am I forgetting someone? Oh, Obi's. I like Obi. There's a lot of guys in this team that are just like, sometimes you get annoyed by them only because like you like what they're seeing on the court, but then fans overrate them to a certain to like an extreme extent that you're like, I like Obi, but let's relax a little bit about how good you think he actually is.
The thing is, they're all very inconsistent. So like, yeah, Cam played great yesterday. Don't look at his box score against Detroit, and like every player on the team is like that.
It's weird also. So Julius Randle shot, and RJ Barrett shot 40% from 3 for an entire shortened season, but an entire season. Those stats aren't real. But IQ and Obi played well for 2 weeks against G League opponents, and we're like, they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. Those stats are, and Obi actually, his 3-point shooting has been great this season.
I mean, he said he's been working on it, and we're 13 games in, and he's still above 50%, I believe.
Yeah, he's been really like, there was one game recently where at some point I think it was Hart, Obi, and Randall on the floor at the same time. So like, they were even experimenting with Obi at the 3.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Obi can play the 3?
Yeah. Why not?
Do you think he's going to guard any other team small forward even remotely well?
Is he guarding anybody remotely well? Who cares?
Yeah, I guess like I was listening to someone who was saying like we should give Fournier's minutes. I'm like, Fournier's almost our shooting. Is Obi now going to be our shooting guard?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess in that case you'd move RJ to the 2.
Not that it matters that much. This team is a weird team.
All right, we're about out of time. In conclusion, everyone needs to play better on defense, especially Randall and RJ. I mean, the team is centered around Randall and RJ, and neither of them are doing anything on defense, and it's a problem.
That might be an issue. Running, by the way, previewing next. If you want a preview of next week's show, just listen to the show again.
I started off talking about breaking records, and you didn't want to hear any of my positivity today.
Did you have any positivity? Are any Knicks fans positive after yesterday's game?
I was talking about Sims shooting 100%.
Okay, let's end the show. We're ending right here. Just go back and forth. You can play the goodbye music song as soon as we're out of positive things to say about the Knicks right now. So positive. Cam had an awesome game. His best game as a Knick yesterday.
IQ is officially out of his 3.25 year long shooting slump. It's over. He's shooting well.
Randall, despite everything else, has been playing somewhat efficiently lately.
Mitch will not stay injured the whole season.
He'll be back. Quentin Grimes is getting healthier. I'm assuming he's still trying to get Quentin Grimes within a week or two will be playing a full 25 to 30 minutes. Didn't I bet you last show that he would play 25 minutes before the next show?
Yeah.
I was wrong. Yeah.
I just added to your list of burgers you owe me. So Brunson is the best point guard we've had in 20 years. Even if he's up and down, still the best point guard since...
Our prized offseason acquisition, Brunson, is probably the best player on the team.
Yeah.
A lot of positives.
Before we sputter out, I'm going to end the show. Thank you for listening, everybody. We'll be back soon. Please join our Discord. We are starting a newsletter. It's two in January. It's a comedy newsletter for those of you who are into that. And I'll be posting the link. So please subscribe to that. And if you know somebody who does social media marketing, please contact us. nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. We will be back next week in the midst of a 4-game and 5-night road trip. So that'll be fun. All right, goodbye.
Bye, love. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go.
This is the end.
Say goodbye. You better go away.
I'm gonna leave you